Good afternoon, Catherine Ashmore Bradley. Welcome on VH Berries.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am very grateful. How is your day going? I know that you are just leaving the stage from a very busy day.
I am. I got up at 6 in the morning this morning and I had a very sharp call time of 6:45. I filmed a huge scene for the Loud House live action TV show, and I just got home, did some homework, and now I'm here.
Absolutely. And Catherine Bradley, no matter how I start this conversation, I feel that it will always be more welcoming than the one loud pie that you spreaded on your brother, Link Meister face.
I did. That is the character I play on the Loud House live action Christmas show. I play live action TV show. I play Luann, and she is super into her pranks, and one of her big ones is pieing people, which you guys will definitely see more of in the upcoming episodes.
We will see more of it. And right from the beginning, you decided with your own words to up your game from the 12 puns of Christmas to the 12 prank of Christmas.
I did. That was last year when I was filming the movie for the Christmas special it's actually what's so interesting about the Loud House movies is that, and the TV show, is that it's based off a cartoon. And my character, she's a prankster, and her main thing is jokes. She's actually a comedian, but when she does prank, she goes very hard.
This title and feature film, Catherine Bradley, is called A Loud House Christmas, which will have a sequel that will be released next month. Can you tell us a little bit more about the storyline and what your character is doing?
Yes, so we filmed, the cast of Loud House filmed a Christmas movie actually last year, and as I was saying before, the Loud House is based off Nickelodeon's one of their most successful cartoons. And so we did that last year, which was amazing. It was a huge hit. It was actually the #1 kids telecast of the year last year, which was just so amazing. And so we have followed it up with a TV show sequel, but this TV show, it's amazing. It's just a whole kind of different vibe than the Christmas special in a way. And I'm just so excited for everyone to be able to see that.
Lincoln is one brother surrounded by his 10 sisters, and he is trying to make his family not safe on 2 places on land, but more surprisingly on water.
Oh, I know. The Christmas movie, the storyline was absolutely so funny. Lincoln was a little mischievous. He kind of got that from Luann in that sense. And basically what was happening during the Christmas show was that everybody was kind of doing their own thing for Christmas, but Lincoln couldn't deal with that because he loves to have everybody there for Christmas. So he kind of devised all these pranks and all these schemes to kind of get everybody to stay home. And it was really cool, but in the end he got caught, and the family did end up spending Christmas together. Spoiler.
They reunite, as you just mentioned, to spend Christmas together, all through his many tentatives, including a very special and smart invention that is called the croaky shark. Or maybe, if we switch the 2 words in different orders, the sharkodile.
It is the sharkodile, yes. That sharkodile was such a hassle, oh my gosh. But it was really cool to work with. I mean, it was just really fun. The sharkodile is a mix between a shark and a crocodile, and Lincoln comes up with it to prevent his family from going to Florida due to this overtake of this beast ravaging the beaches. And It's a really funny storyline.
In this feature film, you are playing that character that has a sort of marionette toys that can speak, and you also have your sister playing in it, in which she have very long hair and very dark throat. Can you tell us about this very special relationship and those two characters, obviously?
Yes. So obviously you got to see, if you guys watched the movie, how it was in the movie. But in this TV show, everything, all the relationships we have are so much more delved into. I mean, working with my sister is on a show is just absolutely magical. It's like we kind of get to bring that relationship that we have onto the screen. And me and Aubin are very, very close. And it's just so fun to be able to work with her, especially that we kind of have the same relationship. I play her older sister, she plays my younger sister on the show. And it's really awesome. And she is phenomenal at her character. Like, when I tell you, in this TV show, she has actually made me die laughing. Like, I think she's amazing. The whole cast is amazing, honestly. But I do have a puppet. His name is Mr. Coconuts. Although I did not know ventriloquism when I started the Loud House franchise at all. I literally, probably still to this day, I do ventriloquism so dirty. But yeah, I love working with Mr. Coconuts. And actually, when I was filming that movie, when we wrapped, and I was handing Mr. Coconuts back, I literally started bawling, crying, because I think it made me realize how attached I was to this object that's just not real. But to me, as I had been kind of developing it as a character, it almost kind of felt like a part of me. And I think as Luann, Mr. Coconuts is totally a part of her and the way she expresses herself. And it was just, that relationship is so cool. It's almost like I get to play two different characters on the TV show. And I think the audience is going to find all the jokes and puns we do so fun.
If I understood correctly, Catherine Ashmore Bradley, Mr. Coconuts, should have his own credits because he plays a huge part in that movie.
Yes, honestly, he does. He does play a huge part in the movie. He more so actually plays a huge part in our new TV show. And it's just, he is, I mean, I am him, but he is very, very funny. And I think also what's really interesting about the TV show versus the movie is that kind of in the movie, I was always with Mr. Coconuts, and I was always kind of, I mean, it was a movie. We didn't have a lot of time to delve into the realness of Luann's character, because in the movie she was always kind of performing, always doing a joke, always telling a story, always in the middle of action. But in this TV show, we kind of get to see Luann without Mr. Coconuts and without performing, and kind of tap into her more vulnerable side, which is actually a really cool storyline in one or two of the episodes that we get to experience with her. And I think both Luann and Mr. Coconuts are really cool characters I get to play.
I'm looking forward, Catherine Bradley, to see that sequel. And how would you describe the evolution of, for example, Mr. Coconuts, the character you are playing? Because I believe that they are always growing with time and becoming maybe more mature.
Yes. As I was just kind of saying, in the movie, we didn't really get to tap into Luann's vulnerability. Luann at home, Luann when she wakes up in the morning, Luann when she goes to bed at night, Luann when she's telling jokes, when she's creating jokes. And I think in this TV show, not just for Luann, but for all the different characters, we get to kind of see them as all of their kind of sides to them. We get to see them when they're upset, when they're happy, when they're angry. And same with Mr. Coconuts. And I think it's been really cool to be able to kind of work through that different sides to Luann, because in the movie I didn't really have that many kind of different ranges of emotion besides when I got really upset at Mr. Coconuts in that one scene. But it was just, I feel like I've grown with Luann and we've connected so much as people. And one thing about playing something from a cartoon is that when you take a character from a cartoon, such a well-known cartoon that has such a strong fan base already, fans are kind of expecting a certain Luann, a certain Lenny, a certain Luna. And of course you have to stay true to your character, but what I think is really cool about the live action version is that you kind of get these characters with a little spice of the actor as well. And I think that's been really cool. That's something that me and Luann have kind of worked on together to be able to, kind of develop her character more.
It is all about the development of the character. And Catherine Bradley, you had that very wild range of emotion playing it. And I would love to discuss about all the journey that led you here, because you were coming actually from the stage, from theaters, and I can totally feel it in your performances in that movie, because on stage you always need to be very open about your emotion to convince the first person in the first row of the room, and also the person sitting at the last seat of the room.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Coming from theater to film is certainly a very hard journey. I mean, I'll just go into the whole thing, I guess. But I started competitive dance, and I started in dance, really. I started dance when I was about probably 4 years old, in competitions when I was 5 or 6. I was super into competition dance, but whenever I was little, I was really into musical theater, which is kind of where dance meets theater. I was so into that. I was so into playing the characters. I remember this one year I actually had a duet where I got to play Ursula in a Little Mermaid duet. And that's where I kind of found my love for acting, getting to play this cool character, Ursula, when I was this 8-year-old, like, sweet, innocent child. Like, I really loved that. And then from there, I started community theater, which I think is just... I have such a great respect for community theater, and I started it when I was really young, and I got into this show, Billy Elliot, with my whole dance studio. We were all doing it, and it was so, so fun. And the director from that particular musical actually picked me up and really liked me and took me to do her off-Broadway musical called Spandex, actually, which was such an amazing experience in Minnesota. And from there, I kind of was just thrown into the world. I got an agent from a showcase. I started working with Nancy Carson. And after I started working with Nancy Carson, that's when I really got into the different bigger theater things I've done. That year, I actually went on the national tour of A Christmas Story, which was so, so insane. I got that agent, and maybe 6 or 8 months later, I booked that tour. And those memories I hold so dear to my heart. Like, that was just probably the start of my acting career, to be honest. Like, the real true start was like that tour. And it was so amazing. And what was so cool about it is I actually got to dance on the show. I did tap, which I love tap dance. I did musical theater dance. I got to incorporate dance, which I also love, with theater. And I feel like that's kind of where I also love theater the most, is because I get to show singing, dancing, and acting. And then after that tour, I went and I did a bunch of things in between. I did Mary Lennox in the Secret Garden up in Maine, which was just such a cool experience. I did Small Allison in Fun Home. I did Annie up in Charleston. Like, I got to travel to so many cool places. It was traveling as a child that young and having all those amazing experiences and being supported by my family and my friends and everyone flying out to see me was just like, it made me realize, I think, from such a young age that I really love what I do and that I want to do it forever. And after I did Annie, I booked Harry Potter on Broadway, which was just absolutely just amazing. It's actually right before COVID happened, and the show had stopped running for a little bit just because they were just rewriting, doing a couple different things, and there was a rebrand of the show, and we got to take over every billboard in Times Square, and they did rewrites, they reblocked, they did dance numbers, they added all this stuff. So on opening night, I got to be a part of Harry Potter on Broadway, and just walking out from being that girl on Billy Elliot at my community theater to walking out and saying the opening line of Harry Potter on Broadway in front of 4,000 people was just like such an amazing experience. It was just magical.
It was just magical, Catherine Bradley, and this was the true story. And you mentioned a very important city in your journey, which is Minneapolis, in the state of Minnesota, in which you actually played and did an off-Broadway show.
Yes, Minneapolis. I loved that off-Broadway show. It's called Spandex, actually. I've done stuff with it years later. I mean, it is such an amazing show about being true to yourself and not really conforming to society standards and just, just like being yourself. And it's just, the show has such a good message. And I think doing that show kind of really, alongside the National Tour of a Christmas Story, really set off my acting career because that was just, I had never done anything like that in my life, and it was just so awesome.
And one other thing that is very ironic and funny, Catherine Bradley, which is that one of the first television series in which you played is called Happy. It is funny considering the fact that your favorite genres are drama and horrors.
Yes, I loved shooting Happy. Well, actually, the show is called Happy, but it is a drama and it's a horror. It's an awesome show. Although I do play a comedian on Loud House, I love dramatic and horror acting. It's my favorite type of style. Just very real, grounded, natural drama. I mean, I've done so many different shows like that. I did Law & Order SUV. Recently, I actually played Matt Del Negro's daughter on City on a Hill, and I got to really show a very grounded, teenagery, angsty girl. And although I love doing comedy, and comedy is definitely a real skill, my favorite always is going to be drama.
It always will be drama, and I am very curious about that again transition from stage to television. Those what we can call adjustments. Did you had some, for example, experiences to relearn the way you're expressing yourself? Because actually, when there is a production on screen, you have to speak naturally, as if there are nobody in the room, because the microphone are already close to you.
Yes. Theater acting versus TV acting is definitely very, very different. And coming from being a theater kid, it was certainly an adjustment. I mean, as someone on theater, as you explained before, you have to express your emotions to the person in the back row and to the person in the front row. So you really have to sell it and be big and be bold with your emotions. But on TV, the camera is so close to your face, just even the slightest flicker of your eye can show a whole different emotion. Whereas on theater, you would never be able to understand that. I think one of the harder things for me when I was transitioning from mostly doing theater to mostly doing TV is that I'm a very physical person. Like when it comes to acting, I talk on the day-to-day basis with my hands. If you can't tell, I'm very expressive and I'm very loud as a person. So kind of controlling all that and making my body language less drastic and loud when you're on TV, because even the subtlest like move of a shoulder can read so big on TV was kind of an adjustment for me, but I love it, and I still love theater acting and would love to do more of it.
Catherine Bradley, of course you're speaking with your hands. Because of Mr. Coconut, the link is very, very obvious.
Yes, I mean, that's very, very true. When I first learned how to do ventriloquism, it was so hard. The first time I showed up in Atlanta to film the movie, the Christmas movie, I was sitting in my hotel room every single night learning ventriloquism off YouTube videos. I would sit there with my practice dummy, Esther. I bought this practice dummy, and I still have her to this day. And we would sit in a hotel room and I would be talking to myself like a crazy person in the mirror on YouTube videos like, hello, everybody, like a crazy person. But, I think it pays off.
It always pays off. Hard work always pays off. And I would love to focus on the play that you just mentioned, playing this very iconic character named Lily Potter Jr. From March to September of 2019 under the direction of Benjamin Shaw.
Yes, that was an incredible experience. And when I tell you the first night, actually, it's a really funny story. The opening night of the rebrand, so the show had been closed for a little bit. They had recast. There was a whole new cast brought in. This was like super exciting. We were all super nervous backstage, so ready for all the critics were there. Everybody was there. And I think I have the opening line. My character had the opening line of the show from what I remember. And I walk out on stage and when I tell you, I literally froze. 4,000 people in the audience, I forgot my line. The opening line of the show, after it had been shut down and all the reporters were there, I forgot it. I forgot the line. And I walked off stage and I was like, oh my God, I know I did not just do that. It was so funny.
That's very inspiring. That little challenges and failure. Of course, it is inspiring because we can say that if Catherine Bradley had a little memory problem at the beginning, so that it's acceptable. And to come back to this very special balance between screen and stages, how do you see yourself in the future between those two worlds? Because one of them and the two of them are demanding and requires, for example, to stay in the same location, for example, in New York City.
Yes. So, I mean, as much as I loved doing Harry Potter on Broadway, and I still love it, I mean, I literally got to wear wings and fly around the stage and get sorted by the sorting hat. Like, what little kid's dream isn't that? I kind of still want to do both. I mean, I grew up in theater and I have such a great love and respect for it. But right now, I think my career is kind of taking me on a path where I'm going to be doing a lot more TV and movies and stuff, which I'm so excited to announce. Still, I have so many new projects coming up, even some more with Loud House possibly. And it's just like, that's kind of where my career is taking me at the moment. But I would love to go back and do more theater stuff. I mean, it's what I started in and I love it so, so much. But I think what's really cool about the difference between TV and theater acting is, well, theater acting, I mean, you definitely get to show your skills and show your acting and spread a message to the people that are in the theater. Something that's so cool about being on TV is you get such a broad spectrum of audience. I mean, there's obviously, I feel like in kind of every TV show, especially The Loud House, there's a sort of message behind each of the episodes. In The Loud House, there definitely is. There's always some sort of message of family or love or hardship or something like that. And I think getting to show that to such a wide audience is so cool because educating young kids on different values is just so, so cool. And being able to reach that many people and have that kind of big influence on children and adults and teenagers it's so amazing. And I think the world needs a lot of positive messages right now. And I think it's really cool.
The world needs more positive messages. And Catherine Ashmore Bradley, you just mention a very powerful messaging, and I can make a direct connection, for example, with costume, but not only costume, the clothes, and a very special causes to your heart, which is linked with some of the environment and fashion domain. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Of course. I mean, I'll dive into that in just a second, but I think what's really cool about sorry, in the world right now, there's so many terrible things happening, like the war in Ukraine, obviously, is just absolutely horrible and just not even, just really upsetting. And with COVID happening and with all this like really negative stuff happening in the world right now, I think spreading positive messages and always being a good influence to my audience is really important to me. And actually, I just attended the First Lady's banquet and the First Lady's brunch for Fashion for Development, which is actually an organization that focuses on making the fashion world pretty focused on environmental studies and making sure clothes are sustainable, because as our future generations continue to come, if we're just wrecking our world with fast fashion and quick trends and in and out stuff, instead of really nurturing it and taking care of it, then our children and our grandchildren are not really going to have that much to take care of, because we're just going to keep wrecking the environment. And the environment is something that I hold very close to my heart. I'm definitely an environmentalist, and attending those banquets and hearing world leaders and government people and super big influencers and just really, really smart people come together at this brunch to share ideas about what we can do to spread positive change in our world was so cool to me as a young girl with teenage fans and with children as fans, because if I can spread that message to them at such a young age, then when they're older, they're going to be spreading that message, and then it's going to keep on paying forward. And I think that's the way we can really save the environment and do better as a society and as a community, is just educating each other. So it was really cool to be able to be there and experience that.
I am looking forward to see all of those very powerful action. Thank you very much, Catherine Ashmore Bradley.
Of course. Of course, yeah. I loved it. And I think when this show comes out, it's going to be awesome, because Loud House really makes people laugh. I mean, there's been so many different tests, and parents have watched it, and producers have watched it, and everybody has watched it, and everybody that has watched it has been dying laughing. It's so funny. I mean, it's not even just funny to kids. Adults will find this funny. We brought so many cool guest stars in, whether it be from Vicki Lawrence, a comedic icon, to Broadway veterans like Kevin Chamberlain and people from Groundhog Day, and it's just like, it's been really, really cool. And I think when the show comes out and people are laughing, that's going to be so awesome, because as I said before, the world needs a couple more laughs as there's all this bad stuff going on in it.